joining us now from the Capitol is Governor Brian Kemp. Hello, Governor.
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Great. Now, this is your last Sine Die. How many times have you actually been through a Sine Die? If you count your years in the Senate, as Secretary of State, Governor.
I probably wasn't prepared for that question. Let's say I had 4 years in the Senate. I think 8 as Secretary of State, and then 8 as governor, so quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few. So you always talk to both chambers. Do you give us an idea of what you may talk with them about tonight?
Well, I think really just be thanking everybody tonight. You know, this is not, while I'm the chief executive for the state, we have a great team. We have great leaders at our executive branch agencies, a lot of staff, folks at the budget office, and then obviously the legislators, their staff, and a lot of other people that work in the Capitol that people watching the television will never get to see, that really help us drive policy here, drive the budget here. And really, I'll just be thanking them for serving with me and our team over the last, 7.5 years. We're not done yet. I got to finish the drill, as they say. But really thanking them for some great legislative sessions, and as you all remember, through some very difficult times in our state.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about a few things. You led with fiscal conservatism during your 7 years, and why was that so important to you, and how do you think it's turned out?
Well, I think it's turned out great. If you'll remember, there was a lot of people that were upset when I had a budget cut in my first budget because I had promised to give teachers and state employees a pay raise, and we ended up doing that even more so than I promised when I was campaigning because I felt like that was very important. I felt like we could streamline state government, make it more efficient, use the savings for that to give teachers and hardworking law enforcement and other people in state government a pay raise. And thankfully we had that mindset coming in because when the pandemic hit, we were going through something that was unprecedented, really hard to figure out how to budget there. And so us being conservative on the budget, but also keeping our economy open and really leading the country in the great American comeback positioned us very well to do generational things. We did that again this year with our 4th tax rebate. So right now the Department of Revenue is cutting checks or sending money back to folks that paid taxes last year to help them fight the tough environment that we're in with high cost because of the 40-year high inflation and other things during the previous administration. The tax cuts we've been able to do, the historic investments that we made in transportation and infrastructure to keep goods and services and our people moving, but also to keep people working in our state. That's what I've really focused on, and I think quite honestly that's what the people wanted.
You leave with a large surplus for the state. Do you think that your successor can continue that, and what would it mean to Georgia if it isn't continued?
Well, I think we're leaving the state in great fiscal shape. That's one thing I've really tried to press on the legislature, especially the last 7 years where we did have historic rainy day funds. We've used a lot of those to make generational projects. One of them this year is fixing the I-75 South Corridor going down through Henry County, almost $2 billion of cash. Our bond package the last 2 years, we paid cash for it. That's going to save the taxpayers $120 to $150 million a year, every year for the next 20 years. Those kind of things will really keep our state in a good fiscal position. But we have spent down some of those one-time reserves that we have. But I felt like it was important for us in these times as our budget has gotten bigger for us to also have a bigger reserve fund. I'm very thankful that Governor Deal left a good rainy day fund for me when I got there after Governor Perdue had to really govern during some tough times, and I wanted to do the same thing. And regardless of whoever the next governor is, it's going to be very important because we will go through tough times again. You can see right now with what we have going on in Iran and other things, what can happen to your economy very quickly. Hopefully that's going to be short-lived. I believe the president thinks that, and he said that last night. But you have to be ready for those things when you're a leader and in positions like this, and I hope that my predecessor will do that, or my successor will do that.
The one thing I want to ask you about, because you were Secretary of State, they're going to look at an election bill we expect tonight, and if it passes, will you be in favor of it or will you veto it?
Well, it depends on what's in it. You know, we've been working with the General Assembly in that regards. You know, we got to make sure that we have secure, accessible, fair elections in our state. As you all know, we were on the front lines of passing one of the strongest elections integrity acts in the country, but also that bill made it easy to vote and hard to cheat. And if the bill does that, then I'll sign it. But if it creates problems and chaos in our elections, then I'll have to take a hard look at it. But we're working with the General Assembly on that as the night goes on.
Well, I have to ask you, what do you consider your legacy at this point?
Well, I'll let others decide my legacy. I get up every day working hard for this state. I'm going to do that till the last day in office, and I'll let history be the judge of that.
Okay, then. Well, thank you so much, Governor Kemp, for always giving us time on lawmakers, especially on Sine Die. We really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
It's been an honor. Thank you.